Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. This is Anthony hosting today, and we've got the full panel joining. What we figured we'd do is, naturally, as time moves forward and we get more info on other games coming out, we'll talk about those things. I imagine we'll have something to say about Pikmin 4 when things get closer, but for the time being, we figured we'd just kind of do a little bit of a mini-series about Tears of the Kingdom and just kind of cover, we just pick a topic and we'll discuss that aspect of the game and just talk about what we love, maybe, some of the things we don't. I don't have very many of those. Mostly I just freaking love this game, but, if there are, those are things we can talk to. But we were going to start with, I think, probably the most spoiler-safe topic at this point, because each of us are at varying degrees of progress in the game. I've already beaten it. And on the other end of the spectrum, David is still hunting most of the Korok seeds and all that stuff.
Mostly I'm just getting distracted. Sorry, it's not like I have to do all the Korok seeds. It's more like...
Oh, no. I'm just using Koroks as typical of the type of distraction that you might run into.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
How many regional phenomena have you done, David?
1.5.
Okay, all right.
That's respectable.
I now have an understanding of how distracted you've been.
I've put in quite a few hours. I haven't checked in a while, but I'd guess I'm in the 30-hour range or something like that. I don't have as much time to play. I don't have as much time to play the game as I want, but it's a lot for me in 3 weeks to put in that much time.
Yeah, I've done all 4. Anthony's beat the game. Lisa, how many have you done?
Done 1.
Okay. So as you see, we're kind of all over the place right here on this panel.
David and Steven, you're probably the ones who felt the strongest about this. Why don't we start with your thoughts?
I want to start by saying I was never one of the people that was like, this is $70 DLC, but I do have to admit I had a little bit of concern, going back to the Same Hyrule. How much would it feel like I was doing the same things as Breath of the Wild, right? So I did have some of the same map concerns, not to the degree that you saw online, but I was sure I was going to have fun anyway. But jumping into this game, like, there's so many places where I can tell, okay, this is the same Hyrule, but it sure feels different, The first game, you basically had in the world, you basically were looking for either Korok seeds or shrines, and that was about it, right?
And bugs.
Bugs.
Yeah.
You catch bugs.
Depending on who you are.
So you have all that. Still, there's plenty of shrines, Koroks, things like that to find, but I've just been blown away by how much variety of things there are besides that. I'm this far in the game, and I'm still discovering brand new things, and it's just a delight every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely love it. We kind of talked about it in the last video we did, but the fact that you have a sky level and the normal level, which is, I had the same concerns as David, going to the same Hyrule, but I had faith that they were going to make it unique in some way. But like Anthony said last time, like, you will recognize landmarks in the world, but that is basically all, because after that, everything is new and it feels new, and holy crap, like, they made so many changes to that main land that it feels new. And then you have the depths, which is insane. And it's just nuts. But just to throw some numbers at you guys, I tried to do a little bit of research on this before coming in, and it blew my mind. So talking about distractions, I know I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but distraction. There's 100. There's 1,000 Korok seeds to find, 152 shrines, somewhere around 60 side quests, 48 Hudson construction signs to do, plus you have the armor upgrades and all that to do, and the compendium. I don't even know how many things you can take pictures of in the compendium, but in the first game it was a lot. Like, there is so much to do in this game. Good luck.
Yeah, I gotta say that even back when we didn't know about the depths, because somehow they managed to keep that so under wraps that I had no idea until I started the game, and then suddenly it was like, what? But even if they hadn't had the depths, when I heard that the map was quote unquote the same, I was like not really as concerned as a lot of people were. Like, a lot of people were freaking out, and they kind of got me a little concerned with how much they were freaking out, but I was just like kind of excited to see what I would recognize and how it would be different. And I feel like that's kind of been my experience.
Yeah.
Is that it's usually an enriching thing. Yeah. Sorry. What, Dave?
And, I agree with you completely. Like, seeing these familiar places that I loved exploring in the first game and seeing what's different, there's something special about that that I didn't necessarily expect to enjoy so much. But
there's a kind of a sense of nostalgia, even as it feels new.
Yeah. And I have to admit that sorry, Dave, what?
Just real quick, the nostalgia comment. This, for me, has recaptured what it felt like to play Breath of the Wild for the first time. I feel like several of us have had the sentiment like, oh man, I kind of wish I could erase my memory and experience that again the first time. How special that was to play the first time. This is as close as it gets for me.
Yeah.
But better, like it's like experiencing Breath of the Wild the first time, but they improved so many things that for me personally, it's even better. That's pretty special.
I mean, just all the things they added even to the surface level. One of the things that's been one of my favorites is the cave systems.
Yes.
and the wells. I don't know. I always thought the wells would hide interesting things in Breath of the Wild, but they never really did. And then I'm just wandering along and I see a well that keeps going down. That was a really, I don't know why it's such a strong payoff for me, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is cool. So the depths, we already talked about how it was a big surprise they managed to keep secret. I was blown away because, I think basically everyone on this panel, I wasn't one of the people who was overly concerned about a repeated world. I kind of expected that there would be similarities and also sufficient differences to keep me interested. And I was like, well, there's the sky too, and that's going to add a new realm to explore that'll be entirely new. And then all of a sudden they just drop you in what is legitimately 2x, like basically the same size as the surface map, and it just has just as much to explore. As soon as I got down there for the first time and I realized how massive it was, I was just giddy. I'm like, how this is not $70 DLC just by virtue of this alone. And that's not even, accounting for all the different abilities and anyway. I was delighted, and I find myself exploring there all the time and dying and stuff, but super fun.
I like it. That's what we do a lot down there. I love how you described it in our last video too, when you said it's just like Dark Souls. Zelda meets Dark Souls. Because it's true. Dang, man.
It's a lot more challenging down there for sure.
And I tend to go down there where I don't have any of that specific food that gives your hearts back.
Sundelion.
Thank you. Yeah, I never have food with that in it, so I'm always doomed. It's like, don't touch me.
Yeah, I have to admit that I've explored a lot, but not very much, if that makes sense. Like, in that it got to a point where I'd just be like, I'm going to that light route over there, and I did nothing along the way. I just went straight to the light route and explored nothing else. And so I have a lot unlocked, but I'm still like, need to go look around in those areas. I wonder if I'll remember.
Kind of difficult to really explore when the lights are out anyway, so that's true. What I've been doing.
Here's my problem. My problem is I just keep warping everywhere. And it's a problem. I mean, I've seen a bunch of changes, like I've said before, like the main floor of Hyrule is completely different, but when I need to go somewhere, I tend, because I don't have a lot of time, I'm similar to David. I don't have a lot of time to play, but when I do, I'm like, warp. Like, all right, I'm there. I'm at the destination. So when I'm, going to explore the depths, like I was saying earlier, I don't have a lot of meat to cook or items to cook with because I don't walk anywhere. So I'm like, I need food. What I was going to say was something delightful about this game that, that we knew good content was going to be coming from this game. Well, here's a lot of good content that's come from this is those Koroks that need to find their buddies. Link is literally doing war crimes on these little guys.
Oh no!
I don't know if you guys have seen videos on YouTube of like people like shooting Koroks into the sky with like rockets, and they like disappear in the sky.
Somebody made a Korok kebab.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I heard of a friend just today telling me that he dragged one with one of those horse. They attached him to the harness of the horse and just dragged him along the floor. I was like, oh my god.
I did that, but I at least put him on a board that was connected to the harness.
Yes, so he's like on a sled or something. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't done much of those Korok seeds myself, but man, seeing those videos is pretty funny.
Yeah. I have to say, like, there's a lot more variety in how you can earn Korok seeds. That's fun too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's the obvious ones where you just have to like find them somewhere, but there's just a lot of variety in how you can find the seeds themselves, and that makes it a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing I wanted to comment, like while we're talking about how like there's so much variety and distractions in this world they've created, there's also a lot more enemy variety, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely.
That was a pretty big complaint with the first game, is there was just like you mostly had like bokoblins of various colors, and moblins, the Zophos.
Yes.
With very occasional other things. I don't know. I mean, there was a decent variety, but in a world that big, it started to feel very repetitive. So, whereas in this game, so far, I've just been blown away by how much variety there are in the enemies now.
Anthony and I talked about one specific enemy on the last stream that you two were not a part of, and that is trees.
Yeah.
Have you guys had trees attack you yet?
Aren't they called evermeans?
Okay, evermean trees.
I think. Okay, I have never actually read the word. It's just one time during a tip, it looked like the word evermean came up, and I was like, yeah, they are mean every time. No.
Yeah,
what did you guys think the first time you were attacked by a tree?
I was very offended.
It startled me. I think it killed me the first time because a couple trees ganged up on me. I was in a forest.
Well, and I was just trying to sneak up on a bokoblin to take it out, and then the tree came, and I've lost my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's awesome?"
Have you encountered a lot of gloom hands?
Yes.
I'm sure people that beat the game have. I've only seen one, and it wasn't in the depths. Actually, it appeared on the surface.
Well, to be honest, I've seen them far more often on the surface than in the depths. I've only seen them once.
Was it inside a cave?
No,
not for me.
surface.
I have to admit, it was pretty terrifying, but I was kind of lucky. Like the music changed, got super scary, but I had just cleared out a camp of bokoblins, and I was standing on one of their raised platforms.
Ooh, lucky dog.
So I was kind of lucky. The
lucky
thing
dog
came and like swirling out of nowhere and was like came under my platform and was reaching for me, but I just kind of stared at it in horror.
Yeah, it's terrifying. You were lucky.
I was like trying to figure out how do I even fight what I'm looking at, and then the sun came up and killed it for me. So
I didn't know that.
Okay, so it must have been a night.
The sun kills it.
I don't know. I was trying to figure out if it was because the sun came up or because it just took so long staring at it that it finally disappeared.
It's like, you're boring.
Anyway, the first time that I met the hands, I was just I hadn't even gone to Lookout Landing yet. I just walked up by the chasm that's by Lookout Landing, and then I went like west. I was just walking along in Hyrule Field, and all of a sudden this horror appears, and I'm just like, what's happening? Whoa, the gloom is spreading. Wow. And then hands come out like,
yeah, for real.
So then I ran for my life and somehow managed to escape. I don't know how I outran
Wow, how'd you do that? You cannot outrun those things. I tried.
I did it.
I was in a
somehow.
cave when I found it, and I died.
But yeah, the thing that is really funny to me, and then I'll let Anthony move us along, It's just that the game is teaching me how to be a brown bear, right? A brown bear cub. I see something scary, and I just go run up a tree.
For real.
Okay,
I still haven't
the high ground.
I still haven't fought a 3-headed dragon, whatever they're called. I just run. I run. Sure. Yeah, I run.
I once again, I have only seen the word and decided that that's how I'm going to try and say it.
I did try and fight one, and it went poorly. I don't know. Like, there's probably tricks to it, but I fought one for a while. I died several times. I learned some things, and I discovered that like I can't possibly have enough weapons to defeat them.
No, that's why
I was using my strongest weapons, and they were breaking. And I was like, I'm just going to run out of weapons, and it won't be dead. It'll still be alive.
You probably need stronger weapons.
So as you can see, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to what they've done with the world. I think all of us went in with some degree of misgivings about how fresh they could make the world feel. And basically, I think I can speak for all of us in saying that all of us came away thoroughly impressed that they not only refreshed the existing map, but added so much more to do that it just feels entirely different. And then, of course, there's the not so trivial fact that they doubled the map size between the sky and the depths. So there's a ton to do, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm just blown away that they've it's almost like they took it as a challenge. You guys think we can't make something more of this game with the same world? Well, watch.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot. It feels a lot more lived in. There's a lot more to do. It's fantastic. So I think that's probably where we'll leave it for this topic, but we'll just end by saying they knocked it out of the park with their world design, with the things you can do in it. And we are thoroughly enjoying ourselves. So curious to know what you all think in the comments. If you feel the same way or if you have some qualms, let us know your thoughts.
Also, tell us what is your favorite thing that you've built.
For real.
Because I've seen some pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, that'll be a topic we'll talk more about.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Mechanics.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we didn't talk about that on purpose. It's coming.
Yeah.
But
Gotta
yeah,
have an episode because goodness sakes, we're probably not even going to finish everything there is to say about that subject in the course of an episode.
And I can talk about my favorite useless fusion. Anyway.
So thanks for listening to our meanderings about this topic. We're very passionate, and we hope you enjoyed listening. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. That really helps us out with our channel. So until next time,
Keep it nerdy.